Now my wheels in motion and my windows open with the wind blowing in my hair. I'm driving down the highway, gonna do this my way. I can feel it in the air. Here I go. How would you describe your first few days here in Disney World in Orlando?
Below average, I would say. Below average. I would give it a 3 out of 10 right now. But it's only can get better. It can only get better. So like the weather, it's ready to turn. It's going to clear up. Not going to have a tornado watch for much longer. And well, the sun's going to come out and going to be bathed in sunshine.
We're still under tornado watch officially until 2 p.m. I did not think of all the things I thought we would do on this trip. I did not think that last night I would be on Google just double checking what to do in the event of a tornado. That said, I know I live in Scotland, but I'm pretty clued up on what to do in the event of a tornado because I have a catastrophe brain. And I think tornadoes are scary, so I'm often Googling what to do in the event of a tornado just in case. But I will say this, the humidity has been lifted.
That's good.
And I am so glad about that because I like to paint a picture. You know when you made something in the oven and it's been on for hours and you open the oven and all the heat comes out and hits you in the face? If you keep that feeling in your mind, that's been what the last 2 days has felt like for us here in Orlando. But this morning is pleasant. There's no humidity yet. The sun's not quite out yet. Lovely. I would, but we've had quite enough disasters for a very short period of time, and me needing an ambulance after falling out of that does not need to be added to that list. This resort has a great selection of pools. Over here is Old Man Island, which is the main themed pool at Riverside. And you have the Muddy Rivers pool bar. Top tip from me, this pool bar, in my humble opinion, has the best frozen poolside cocktails. Get down here, get yourself an All That Jazz or a Nola Cola. Best day ever. Old Man Island is also the infamous site of Ross's foray into money laundering, but not in the way you think. Ross did famously. What did you do? What you tell people what you did?
I went for a swim, a nice gentle swim with my wallet in my pocket, full of money.
Yeah, with a not insubstantial amount of money in it, which he then had to dry out individual bills on a sun lounger. So yeah, whole new meaning to the phrase money laundering. Ross is in his happy place right now.
No words said. You find the rocking chair? Maybe not to use it.
Okay, so we've had a little bit of a wander around
The Riverside.
the Riverside, certainly the Magnolia Bend section of the Riverside. I don't know if I have mentioned already, but the resort here at Riverside is split into two sections. You've got the Magnolia Bend area with these mansion style buildings, and you also have Alligator Bayou, which is a slightly different theme inside the rooms. It's a bit more of a rustic bayou theme. They're very different looks and feels in each of the sections, so depending on whether we go through there on our current walk, we'll maybe pop into Alligator Bayou to show you the difference in the buildings. But right now we are going to stroll along the river and visit the French Quarter. As you can see, I've switched to my ever so stylish and glamorous cooling headband. First and foremost because it is getting a bit toasty now, and secondly because the wind is picking up, and wind plus hair plus sunscreen not a good combination. So the wind is picking up. This will be an interesting walk. I actually think that's the strongest gust of wind I have ever encountered here in Central Florida.
I think it certainly is up there. The river is simply churned up, isn't it?
So we're going to walk along to the French Quarter. Now the Sassagoula River Company, the boat here at Port Orleans, does run between the two parts of the resort, as well as taking passengers on to Disney Springs. But it is a really lovely walk and it's a nice day, it's not too hot yet.
Yeah.
So we're going to walk along. So as we've said before, this is our favourite resort, it's our home resort. What are some of your favourite things about the resort?
For the start, it's got the best food court on the property. Well, as far as I know anyway, but yes, it's got the best food court. For me, it has the best pools, barring leaving your wallet in your pockets. It's also nice and spread out and lush and green. Loads of trees, nice walks, great amenities. And I will never usually want amenities ever again in my life. But yeah, what's not to like? You get the boat to Disney Springs, easy walk down to the French Quarter, some beignets that you can use both food courts to your heart's content. That's just a few of them. But you just need to look about and you can see why it's our favourite resort.
For me, my favourite things are the theme, the food court, and the boat to Disney Springs. In terms of the theme, I just think this is the most beautifully themed resort. We've stayed in a lot of different Disney properties. We've visited almost all of the Disney resorts, but the sprawling, lush landscape here is just second to none. I just can't get enough of walking around this resort. It's just so beautiful and so peaceful and calm to walk around as well. I've described it many times, and I think others have too, as a vacation within your vacation, and I think that sums it up the best. I'm going to pause right here to show you this building. We're still in the Magnolia Bend section, but this building's a little bit different because this has the princess themed rooms. So just additional touches here, just to signify that this is where you'll find the princess theming. And I think here in this building alone you can see what I mean. It's just stunning. So yeah, as if by magic, to prove my point, that was the princess section over here at Riverside. I want to say that's Partier Place.
Partier Place.
The food court Ross has already mentioned, but I have long said it is one of, if not the best, resort quick service food court locations. For me, again, it's the theme inside. It's absolutely gorgeous. It's themed to an old mill. It's beautiful to sit in. The food court is enormous, and the reason that is such a good thing is when I say it's enormous, the ceilings are huge, so it gets very busy during peak times, as you can imagine, but it can absorb all of those crowds. This morning at breakfast, for example, absolutely jam-packed, so it's very noisy, very crowded, but because of those huge high ceilings, it absorbs all of that noise and it never feels chaotic. And again, as if by Disney magic, my third favourite thing is coming along right now. Let's see if we can get anybody to wave at us. Just wave at them all. It doesn't get more magical than that, guys. It doesn't get more magical than that. We're just coming up on the bridge, cross over the river, and then we will head across to French Quarter. So we've come over the bridge and then under the bridge. We're now in Port Orleans French Quarter. Riverside and French Quarter are technically two distinct and different resorts. For us booking in the UK, you would book these separately, so you wouldn't book just Port Orleans and then be assigned one. You would either book Port Orleans Riverside or Port Orleans French Quarter. But they are sister resorts, which means they have shared amenities. So obviously they're on the river, they share the boat that goes back and forth to Disney Springs and between the two resorts, as we mentioned.
You just can't share the pools.
You can share the pools?
Can you?
I believe so, yeah. We'll look that up and we'll get some clarity on that. But yeah, you can use the pools over here. It's one of the very rare instances where pool hopping is allowed. If you are at Port Orleans, you can use the pools on either side of the resorts. You can use the food courts in either of the resorts, which you can in any Disney resort anyway. But it is a very easy walk along here to the food courts across here. And famously, the beignets are over here. That's very important, a very important detail. Remember that for later. This is where the beignets live. Here they are, the mighty Mickey beignets. Oh, I'm not getting any apparently. Okay, let's see how much of a mess we can make. There's a lot of napkins. Are you living your best life?
I am. Benches are part of your cost of your holiday. Take advantage of.
Well, it was a bumpy start to the holiday, but as it turns out, it's nothing that can't be fixed by a Mickey beignet. Would you agree with that?
I would, even though I'm covered in powder, I'm still not that very much happy.
Yeah, I probably have more powdered sugar on me than anything else at this point. We are going to now take a leisurely stroll back along the Sassagoula River towards Riverside, where we're going to pack the camera away for a little bit. We're going to get changed and we are going to go and spend some time at the pool. We're in that nice, hot but not too hot.
The wind's keeping it cool.
Yeah, there's a really nice breeze today. It's a breeze, but it's sometimes a bluster, but that's keeping it nice and cool. So we're going to spend some time at the pool and then we will start the journey towards Disney Springs. This section of the resort is a little bit more compact than over in Magnolia Bend. You can see the buildings are a little bit closer together. The buildings over here are two-storey buildings. A key thing for anyone with mobility issues is the buildings in Alligator Bay do not have any elevators. Magnolia Bend buildings do, but over here it's just stairs. If you're up on that second storey, that might be important for a few people. Another cool thing about this section of the park is the difference in the landscaping and the vegetation, the plants and the trees. It's a lot more dense over here, a lot more lush. We've stayed in this section before and the effect that gives at night is something really cool. You can hear all the local wildlife a lot more closely to your room than you can over at Magnolia Bend. It also can be a little bit more of a labyrinth over here. If you are staying in this section of the resort, it's worth taking a little bit extra time to get your bearings. There are 4 different bus stops that serve Port Orleans Riverside, and we've found through our own experience that if you get off at the wrong one and have to navigate through Alligator Bay without figuring your way around at first, it can be a long walk back to your room. But yeah, the layout is very different over here. It's a lot more winding paths, a lot of vegetation, a lot of landscaping. But on the upside, you do have arguably more shade as you're walking around, because your trees are a lot closer together, they overhang a lot more of the path. So yeah, it's another really cool thing about this resort is you can have very different themes and different experiences just walking around different parts of the resort. We're just about to reach the edge of Alligator Bayou. Bayou or Bayou? Somebody tell me in the comments. I keep thinking of Ray and Princess and the Frog singing going down the bayou, so I say bayou, but I catch myself saying bayou. That was not the reason I turned the camera around to talk to you. We're about to reach the edge of this section of the resort and come up to Acadian House, which is our building and the first of the Magnolia Bend buildings. So yeah, one of the criticisms of the resort that other people will sometimes have is that it is very sprawled out. It can be a very long walk to the main building from your room. And it is a fair comment. It is a very large resort. It's very sprawling. There's lots and lots of paths, and it can be relatively easy to lose your way in this resort. I think that's fair to say.
Yeah, I've been disoriented many times coming off a bus.
So it's a big resort, and it's certainly not one I would recommend if for any reason anyone in your party isn't going to be comfortable with a lot of walking.
If they've got mobility issues.
Yeah, any mobility issues, anybody with really young children might want to request a building that is a bit closer. For us, it's the main benefit. I really love the fact that it's sprawled out. I like that leisurely stroll in the morning from your room over to the main building. It does feel like this huge resort, and as I said earlier, vacation within a vacation. Well, we've had a lovely chilled afternoon at the pool. We're all showered and changed, and now we're on our way to Disney Springs. You may notice we're not headed towards the boat dock. There is a weather advisory for this evening. It seems to be for wind at the moment.
Yeah, it's for high wind up until about 7 to 8 o'clock.
So that will put the boats out of action. If you are staying at the resort, the boats will generally run most of the day back and forth between here and Disney Springs. But if there is any kind of storm warnings, any weather warnings, if there's lightning in the area, then they will go off service. But there is still the bus service to Disney Springs, so that's where we're heading now. dark and stormy, which is Gosling rum, ginger beer and lime. It's good.
Happy times.
Happy times. Well, that is a wrap for the evening on Disney Springs. I had such a good night at Disney Springs.
It was an excellent night.
Yeah, there was a lot of unexpected things. We didn't get to do the balloon. I'll say that up front. We didn't get to do the balloon. It was grounded all evening because of the winds.
We did get to see a space rocket launch though.
Yes, the Falcon Heavy something
Yes.
or other. But yeah, the SpaceX Falcon, we saw that just at the end of its launch sequence. And although we didn't get to do the balloon, we did get to do a much longer held dream of mine. So we are just heading back to the room now. We ended up having dinner at the Lava Lounge.
It was very good.
So the Lava Lounge is the lounge that's attached to the Rainforest Cafe. So it's a patio and bar area over the water. Never been there before, but the view was absolutely gorgeous. The service was really good. The food
was phenomenal.
The food was excellent. I think that's one of the best steaks I've had in a long time. And then we've had a wander around to the Coca-Cola rooftop bar. We have been to Jock Lindsay's hangar bar as well. And
Finished
we've
off
done
with
some
Disney
shopping. So once we get in the room, I'm going to show you some of the shopping haul. We'll do a little mini shopping haul segment for you here. We were obviously at Disney Springs this evening. We were specifically looking for some items for Star Wars because in just a few days we are here for May the 4th. If you know, you know. So I wanted to get some bits and pieces for around the park. We're going to go to Hollywood Studios on May the 4th for Star Wars Day. So let's check out what we bought. So this is the shirt that I've gone with for May the 4th. You'll see the detail on here that just says around the collar, the Force is with us. And it has that same detail. In fact, it looks like there's a lot more detail in the buttons. So let's just turn this around so that you can see it. Now this shirt was part of this Women of the Galaxy, the Force is with us range. There were quite a few items in the store related to this. And something I didn't even notice until right now, that the buttons on the back have detail with tiny silhouettes of the Women of the Galaxy from Star Wars. And I've also gone with some accessories. I've got a range of Star Wars earrings there. And then Ross has bought some May the Force Be With You shorts from the Greatest in the Galaxy range. He already has his t-shirt all picked out for Star Wars Day. The good thing about all the Star Wars items there is we didn't actually pay for any of those. Now I didn't steal them, obviously I didn't steal them, but our Disney holiday package included a $200 gift card, so that covered all of those items with lots still left over. So free money, free Star Wars things. I have also been to Basin and I have a few fun things that I've picked up in Basin. First up, we have the bath bomb marbles. This is a create your own set. So there are huge vats of these bath bomb marbles. These are just the little tiny ones. You can see my hand for reference there. And this was $8.50 just to fill your own tube with bath bombs. I thought that would be a cute little souvenir. And then we had to go with the obligatory range of Mickey soaps. So we have here the Rose Gold Mickey. And that is citrus, tropical fruit and sweet sugar. We also have with bergamot, lime and sandalwood the Sorcerer Mickey soap. And we also have different colours but same scent as the first one, and I don't know if the camera can fully pick up the colours here, but this is the iridescent Mickey soap. And then Ross also picked out some sea turtle ones, and this is coconut, lime and verbena. And last but not least, just some little lip balms here. So these top three are all tinted lip balms, so just 3 slightly different shades of tinted lip balms, and then just a non-tinted coconut one. So that is pretty much it for this evening, as you hopefully have seen in the footage if it turns out okay. Just taking my shoes off while we speak. We did get the boat back from Disney Springs. The boats were running again. The balloon, as I said earlier, was grounded for the whole evening. I was hoping that by the time we came out of Jock Lindsay's it might be back on, but it was still down at the point that we left Disney Springs. But yeah, the boat came back up kind of fairly early on into the evening, so we were able to get the boat back from Disney Springs. So I think we're probably going to wrap up the vlog at this point and get some much needed sleep before a very early start for Animal Kingdom tomorrow.
Very early.
Final thoughts on today?
Excellent. That's all I need to say. It's just an excellent day.
Yeah, I'm glad we've had a day like this. It was a really, really great Disney day. Really relaxed around the resort today. It was great just not having anywhere to be, not having anything to do, getting some time at the pool as well, and then just wandering around Disney Springs. It was very, very busy at Disney Springs, as it always is, but it wasn't particularly stressful. It was just really nice to wander around. As we said earlier, the meal at the Lava Lounge was incredible, and it did however prevent me from getting chicken wings, because Ross pointed out that it wasn't socially acceptable to also have chicken wings at Jock Lindsay's Hangar Bar immediately after dinner, so save that for another night. But I met the polar bear.
She met the polar bear.
I met the polar bear. I don't have the time on this particular vlog to explain the thing with me and the Coca-Cola polar bear, but let's just say it's been a lifelong dream, and tonight I met the polar bear, so I'm happy. I'm happy. So I hope you have enjoyed coming around the resort with us today and also wandering around Disney Springs for a little bit with us. Coming up on our next vlog, we are hitting Animal Kingdom.
We're hitting Animal Kingdom for a 7:30 opening.
Yep, and we're also experiencing a brand new restaurant to us. In all the years that we have been coming to Orleans Riverside, we have never eaten in Boatwright's Dining Hall, so we are heading there tomorrow night for dinner. I'm very excited because the menu looks amazing. So thank you so much for watching. We hope you've enjoyed this. If you're new to the channel, don't forget to subscribe for more Disney content. Like, share, all that kind of stuff, and we'll see you on the next one. Good night.
Alright.